The Baal Shem Tov discusses why do we have two eyes? A left eye and a right eye. Why do we have two eyes? He says the right eye is for you to look at others. And the left eye is only for you to look at yourself. Very, very, like a riddle. What does that mean? What's the difference between the right eye and the left eye? The right always means, according to Kabbalah and spiritual reality above, kindness, love. The left always means strictness, judgment, punishment. And so what he's saying is that I have two eyes, meaning there are two ways I can look at every situation, at least, because he sees it another two ways. My friend, had I introduced you yet? Never mind, he's shy. Basically, there are at least two ways to look at every situation, and it's a side of positivity or negativity. Kindness with a foundation of love and kindness, or a foundation of judgment and punishment, strictness, harshness, to see the bad. And so he says, unbelievable lesson. Use the left eye only for you, and the right eye you use for others. Only the right eye. One could ask, why should I use the left eye on me? Let me love myself like I love them. If I'm only using the right eye on them, let me only use the right eye on me. The right eye on me. That's not going to work. You know why? Because if you can use the right eye, the left eye, then you should, because it'll bring you to a higher level of truth. And on me I can, but on him I can't. And this has to be understood. Why is it that I cannot use my left eye on my fellow when I can use it on myself? Unbelievable idea I would love to share with you right now. It's because I don't love him like I love myself. It's true I have a mitzvah to love him as I love myself, and this is in fact what we're going to get to, this pshat in this mitzvah, a new pshat in the mitzvah. But because naturally, and unfortunately most likely, I don't love him the way I love me. So when I use the left eye on him, it's going to be unfair to him, because it's going to be only judgment and only strictness and punishment. I'm going to look at him and turn him into a bad person, because I'm not going to do it with love. I'm going to do it only with hate, anger, and I will convince myself that it's all for God. I don't hate him, I love him. I hate him for God. Well, you know what? God didn't ask you to hate him, and do yourself a favor and do God a favor and do what he told you to do in the Torah, love him. But it's hard to do. So the Baal Shem Tov is telling us a quick way to avoid the problem of being so judgmental of others and convincing myself that I'm so righteous, I'm so good, but look at those bad people. Why is Mashiach not here? It must be their fault. How could it be my fault? Ipcha mistaver is the way you say it in Aramaic. The opposite is more likely. Mashiach's not here because of you, not them. And that's the way we're meant to look at it. And so since I cannot judge him without loving him properly, the Baal Shem Tov says, don't judge him. Don't judge him. And in fact, he's just echoing the sages in Pirkei Avot that say, don't judge your fellow until you reach his place. Can I reach his place? Can I be in his shoes, in his footsteps? Can I understand what he went through from the day he was born until now? Certainly not. And even more than that. Can I understand what he went through before he was born? Before he was born. What does that mean? It means a lot of things. Before he was born means, how did God create his soul? When God decided what kind of body his soul's going to come into, what did God decide? What kind of body is he going to go into? What level of refinement or of the opposite? I can't know that. Therefore, I can never judge him. Not even to mention the fact that he could be coming as a reincarnation to fix past mistakes. I can't even judge 1% of him, because I don't know him. I don't know what he's going through, and I don't know what he's been through. So it's totally beyond any sensible thinking person to even try to do. And so therefore, there's only one judge. It's all in a Pirkei Avot. I'm not making up anything. There's only one judge. That's God. Yichidi. God only has the right to judge. We don't have the right to judge anyone. Now, it's true. We have to sit down sometimes in a court of law, a bedin, and we have to do what we have to do that the world should run properly, and we have to protect victims, and we have to do what we have to do. But on a personal level, to judge him and define him with my judgment, I have no right to do that, because I don't know who he is, and I don't know how much he's struggling. I might see externally that he failed, just like Shmuel saw externally that this person would be a perfect king. But Hashem said, no. He's not my perfect king. He is. And so since Shmuel cannot decide who is a perfect king, I also can't decide who is wicked. I can only see what I see externally, but I don't know internally, so therefore I don't really know how wicked he is. I don't know if he gave a 99% effort to fight his evil inclination, and he just failed at the very last second, where I It's all been given to me easily. So I can't, since I can't know that, I can't judge anyone. So with this, we can appreciate, why can I judge myself now? Because I intrinsically, automatically love myself. I certainly love myself. Since I love myself, then when I use my left eye on me, when I am strict about myself and judgment, full of judgment and full of strictness, since I love myself, I will be able to bear it and tolerate it, and it will reach a higher level of truth and reality, because I will balance it with my qualities, because I know and love me, and therefore I will see also the good in me. And this is also dangerous, because if I am too negative, then my self-judgments and my accusations upon myself might weaken me and bring me down. And therefore, I have to also be careful with this. And I will say it, that, and there are sources for it, that in this day and age, we're so weak, so fragile, that it's not the ideal thing to do is to be overly judgmental of yourself. It's true that we can use the left eye on ourselves, but I think it should be done with caution and with limit. What was once a practice of every day, or even countless times a day, could be less often, once a week, and whatever. Speak to a competent, proper rabbi that knows you, that can advise you to what extent should you try to really look at all of your flaws and try to work on them, because too much negativity is depressing and weakening in the end of the day. So that's a beautiful insight into how we're meant to look at others. The right eye is for others. Why? Because I am meant to just love them and see the positive in them. Does it have to be true? No. But that's what I'm supposed to do from my perspective. I'm supposed to dan them the kaf zchut. I'm supposed to give them the benefit of the doubt. And who better than all says this? The Ramban. The Ramban says, when I look at someone else sinning, I should say that he is doing it by accident. But when I sin, it's on purpose. The Ramban, Nachmanides, is saying the exact same thing as the Baal Shem Tov, 1,000 or so years earlier, about 1,000 some odd years earlier. He's saying that I use my right eye on him, and I say, even if it's not true, that he's shogeg, he's only doing it accidentally, maybe even against his will, he's maybe even anus. But I know myself, and I cannot give myself that same liberty. So I have to tell myself that I'm doing it on purpose, my sin. So that means every time I come across someone who sins, and I also sin, then he's always better than me, and I'm always worse than him. And I will just add in parentheses, a possible idea is, I think that in this day and age, that the Ramban will hopefully agree, if I could ask him, to judge yourself the same way sometimes. To imply this other rule, to love yourself as you love your fellow. It's the inverted version of the mitzvah. Love your fellow as you love yourself. So I will say, also love yourself the way you love your fellow. And in this context, you have to also give yourself the benefit of the doubt sometimes. You have to also lift yourself up sometimes. You have to also, tell yourself that you mean something and you're worth something.